Hello students, this is the fourth lecture of chapter 1 of class 12th, electric field and charges. So our next topic is electric flux. So what is electric flux? The number of electric field lines crossing a unit area placed normal to the field at a point is called the electric flux at that point. We know that electric field is always represented by electric lines of forces. So if there is an electric field and these are the electric lines of forces representing this field, and if could place a surface area which is normal to the electric field lines, means electric field lines are in this direction and the surface is placed normal to these electric field lines, and if we can count the number of lines which are passing through this unit area normally, then these number of lines will represent the electric flux at this point. So the number of field lines crossing a unit area which is placed perpendicular to the electric field at that point is called the electric flux. And it means electric flux is always a measure of the strength of the electric field at that point, because we know if this electric field is strong, it means the electric field lines will be more closer, and the number of lines which will cross this area will be more. So if the electric flux is more, means number of field lines is more, it means the electric field is strong. And if the number of field lines is less or the electric flux is less, it means that this electric field is weak. So the strength of the electric field is measured by this electric flux. So mathematically we can write electric flux is equal to E dot delta S. Phi is the symbol of electric flux, and delta phi, it means we are taking a small area delta S only. So delta S is the surface area and E is the electric field in which we have placed this surface area. So the small flux will be equal to E dot delta S, or dot means it is a scalar product. It means we can write it as E delta S cos theta. Theta is the angle between the electric field and this surface area. If we want to calculate the total flux, then what we can do, we can just integrate this over the whole surface area to calculate the total electric flux. So if we consider two special cases, theta is equal to 0, it means the angle between this electric field and surface area is 0. It means that, like in present case, electric field is in this direction and the surface area is always normal to the surface. Surface area vector delta S is always normal to the surface. So in this case, E and delta S both are in same direction, or the angle between these two is 0 degree. It means that if we take theta equal to 0 degree, then cos 0 will be 1 and we will get the flux maximum E delta S. This is the maximum value of flux which we are getting for this case, means the electric field and the surface area are both parallel. If theta is equals to 90 degree, it means if we are keeping the surface area not perpendicular to the electric field, or we are placing it in the direction of the electric field, then what will happen, the electric field and the surface area will be perpendicular to each other. So theta will be 90 degree and cos theta will be 0. In this case, the total flux will be equal to 0, or the minimum in this case. So if we take a uniformly charged wire which is taken as positively charged, then we can calculate the electric field due to this long wire. Its length is large as compared to its radius, so we are calling it as infinitely long straight wire. To calculate the electric field due to this wire, we can select a Gaussian surface in the cylindrical form. So this dotted cylinder is what? This is the Gaussian surface chosen for this purpose. In this Gaussian surface or in this cylinder, the radius is r and its length is L. Here we can see there are three surfaces for this cylinder. The two surfaces, this 1 and 2 surfaces, are the circular surfaces, and third surface is curved surface. For these two surfaces, the electric field is in this direction, because for a positive charge, the electric field is always outward. So electric field is in this direction, and the surface area will be perpendicular or normal to this surface. So this is the surface area. For these two cases, the angle between the electric field and the surface area is 90 degree. So for these two surfaces, the electric flux will be 0, because for 90 degree angle the electric flux is 0. Only the flux which we can get from this Gaussian surface is due to this cylindrical part only, because for this surface the electric field is in this direction and the surface area will also be in the same direction, and the area of this cylindrical part is 2 pi RL. So since the field is radial, because the electric field is in the direction of radius, the flux through the two ends of the cylindrical Gaussian surface is 0. Means for the two curved surface, the electric flux is 0. And for the cylindrical part, we can write the total flux as phi is equals to integration E dot ds cos theta, and according to the Gauss's law, it will be equal to charge enclosed upon epsilon naught. So for this surfaces, the angle is 0 degree, so cos 0 will be 1. So the charge is uniformly, the wire is uniformly charged, so I have taken this electric field outside, and this integration will be applicable only to the surface. So E integration ds will be equal to q upon epsilon naught. ds is what? ds is only the cylindrical part area. So the area of that cylindrical part will be equal to 2 pi RL. This value we will put it here, and for this enclosed charge we can calculate it as q is equals to lambda L, where lambda is the surface charge density. What is lambda? Lambda is the surface charge density, or we can define it as q upon L, means the total charge divided by the length of the wire. So from this formula we can get q is equals to lambda L. So these two values we will put in equation number 1 to get the electric field. E, the area is 2 pi RL, is equals to charge is lambda L, which will be divided by epsilon naught. On solving it, L will be cancelled out, and we can calculate E is equals to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught R. If we are writing its vector form, then E vector will be equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught R n unit vector, where n is the unit vector along the radial direction. Now the electric field due to a uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. This is the uniformly charged plane sheet having the charge plus q, and its surface charge density is sigma. So sigma, the surface charge density, can be defined as sigma is equals to q. Q is the total charge which is on this surface, and divided by its surface area, total surface area, that is S. So sigma is equals to q upon S. To calculate the electric field due to this plane sheet, we are taking this as Gaussian surface, which is enclosing this whole sheet or this whole charge. In this Gaussian surface, again there are three surfaces, first, second, and this is the third surface. At the two end faces, we can see that the electric field E is in the outward direction, as well as the surface area ds is also outward direction. So the angle between E and ds is 0. So here the flux will be maximum. Similarly, at this surface, E and ds are in the same direction. So the total flux will also be maximum. So while calculating the flux, total flux, we will add these two flux. But in this third surface, the electric field is in this direction and the surface area, which is normal to the surface, is in the perpendicular direction. So there is a 90-degree angle between the electric field and this surface area. So there will be no flux outward from this surface. So the total flux will be equal to the flux from this surface plus the flux from this surface. Now, from Gauss's law, we know that the total flux will be equal to phi is equal to integration E dot ds, which is equal to the charge enclosed divided by epsilon naught. Since the sheet is uniformly charged, so we can take this electric field outside from this integration. We will get E integration over the surface ds is equal to q upon epsilon naught. So when we calculate this integration, we will calculate it for the surface 1 and surface 2. So flux through both the surfaces, that is for 1 and 2, are equal and they will be add up. So the net flux through the Gaussian surface will be equal to twice of Es, because if we integrate this ds, we will get the whole surface S, and Es for this first surface and Es for the second surface. So the total flux will be twice of Es, and the charge enclosed by the surface will be equal to sigma, that is the surface charge density multiplied by the surface area S from this formula. Q is equals to sigma into S. So this is the surface charge density Q upon surface area. So we can put the value of this total flux as twice of Es, and the value of Q is equal to sigma S here. What we will get? We will get twice of Es is equal to sigma S divided by epsilon naught. This is the value of Q and this is the value of the integral part. So on calculating it, we will get E is equals to sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. So this is the electric field due to a uniformly charged plane sheet. So if we want to write its vector form, then we have to introduce an unit vector n. So E vector will be equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon naught n unit vector, where n is the unit vector in the direction of the electric field.